In this video, I'm going to show you how I built an entire YouTube setup on wheels with one single stand so that you can move around just using one hand because everything is on wheels and the frame is going to be beautiful with the same lights and the same audio. This is such a game changer because it will allow you to record very fast content in very different areas of your house. You will also be able to control your camera and your audio just with the iPad in front of me that is going to stay in the same position all the time. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can make this whole thing completely wireless so that you can shoot outdoor or in any scenario where you don't have a plug close to you. We're going to build it together step by step so that you don't feel overwhelmed and you can do the exact same thing on your own. The first step is obviously having a sturdy tripod on wheels. What I like about this is can also be folded, so I can just fold all the wheels and then I can put it away whenever I don't need it. And then this one is also extremely tall. Now my ceiling here is very short, but this one I think goes up to 3 meters and 30 centimeters or something like that. But it's super sturdy and very heavy. Now the next thing that we need is a boom arm for a light stand. So this is a boom arm that can be inclined as much as I want. And this will be super useful because it allows us to move the light in any kind of position that we want. So I'm just gonna put one side right here. There you go. And now I can incline this one and just like have a overhead basically angle. And then I can move it wherever I want. Now the next step is to prepare the clamp for the camera. So in this case, I'm using a very heavy clamp that allows to mount up to 15 kg. So I'm gonna place it right here. That's it. And then the best part about this clamp is that it has an attachment where I can then plug in an extension right here on this side. Now I can screw it in. Then the best part about this one is that it allows me to add another adapter right here, which then we're gonna use to add a ball head right here. And then on top of the ball head, obviously we're gonna place the camera. This is a classic ball head. You can have any ball head that you want. I'm using one from Joby just because it's compatible with all my plates. So now I'm just gonna place the camera on the ball head. Just like that. And the first step is done. Now the next step is to work on the lighting. I'm using a Nightlight Forza 60B Mark II just because it's extremely small and I bring it wherever I go whenever I travel. And then I'm gonna place it on top. So, and then we need to use a softbox. In this case, I'm using a Nightlight 60 centimeter softbox that I'm gonna put again on top of the light. And that's it. The beauty of this is that obviously we can move the light as much as we want, have it higher, have it lower, have it closer to me, because we can incline it like so, and then we can just play around with it to then achieve the exact look that we want. So this is already a basic setup that could be used to record your videos because we have the camera and we have the lighting. So let's say I'm gonna sit right here, then I can move around this one, and then we're gonna have consistent lighting everywhere we go with just a very similar angle in case we wanna change the background. And this is already super cool, but we can bring it to the next level maybe by adding audio. Obviously, if you wanna record with this setup and you don't wanna have a podcast mic, you can have a wireless microphone like the one that I have right here, which is the DJI Mic 2. Super high quality. I can also internally record into the transmitter right here, and then I have the receiver on the camera that is recording right now. If I place the receiver on this camera, then I'll be able to start recording directly and I'm ready to go. But let's say you want to have maybe a podcast mic, then we can try to add an arm, a podcast arm right here, and then we can record with a higher quality audio. So with me, I have a very cheap podcast arm that I use when I travel because it's super light, and our goal is try to place it like in this position. Here we have many options. So one option is to use the adapter that comes directly when you buy the podcast arm, or we can try to find another adapter that maybe is a little bit sturdier, a little bit easier to use. In this case, I found this one that I had in the house, and I'm just gonna attach it here where we have a 1/4 hole on this clamp. And this is it. Now we just need to put the podcast arm right so, like so, and this is it. Now we just need to screw in a microphone And in this case, I'm using a Shure MV7 Plus, which I bought recently and I'm super happy with. It's very, very good. This is really good. And the best part about this one is that it has also a USB-C connection, which means that I don't need to use an XLR cable only, and it's super easy and quick to then plug it into my smartphone or plug it into my laptop or computer to then record audio separately. And this is amazing. There you go. Cool. Now we've set up the camera, we set up the light, we set up the microphone. There is one last thing that I want to set up, and this is an external monitor or my iPad so that I can record directly the external audio inside the iPad and I don't need my computer. So I have this iPad attachment that is extremely cheap. It's plasticky, but it does the job. So for me, it works. I'm gonna also plug this one into the light stand right here. And then I'm gonna place my iPad on the iPad holder. There you go. And now the first thing to do is to connect the camera so that I can use it as an external monitor. Now, I'm using right now a Sony a7 III for this one, but if you have a Sony a7 IV or a better model that has a flip out screen, you don't even need this step, but you probably need just a device to record the audio from the laptop. All right, so now I linked my camera right here on the stand with my iPad so that I can see exactly what's going on. I have my light that is on, and I also have my podcast microphone just right here. I'm gonna turn off this light right here that you do not see so that you could see the behind the scenes, so that we have the final framing and we can decide how we wanna set up the camera and the settings. Okay, this will be the final framing and this looks amazing to me, but I just wanna change and I don't wanna have the ISO to auto. So I'm gonna change it and I'm gonna try to have it controlled at 100. I think this looks fine. If I want to make it a little bit more dramatic, maybe I can incline a little bit more the light instead of having it right in front of me. So let's try to do that. Cool, and this looks fine, but then there's one more thing that I can do just using my iPad, and this is adding a voice memo so that I can record the audio directly into my iPad. So I'm just gonna go into voice memo and then I'm gonna place it just next to me. That's it. And now I can start recording so that I can now record the audio directly from this podcast microphone, and it's so much better than the lavalier because I'm very close and this podcast mic is actually a great quality. In case you don't like the framing, you can also zoom in or zoom out with the camera so that you can play around with the angle. Maybe this one looks fine, depending on what you like, what you don't like is totally up to you. And also with the brightness of the light, I think right now I'm at about 40%, but maybe it's a little bit too bright, so I can try to decrease it a tiny bit. And this looks great. If I want to control the lighting just using a remote, I'm using a Nanley WSRC-C1, but this really depends on the light that you have. And then I can just control it with this remote. Obviously this is too bright, but probably somewhere around this area should be fine. And again, if we want, we can just move this one around. We can have the same sort of lighting. We can have the same audio. Obviously, we need to play around with the background, but the beauty of this is that we can move around the house and just play around as much as we want. Now, before I show you how we can transform all this thing into a wireless setup so that we can move anywhere we want, I want to tell you about my home studio blueprint, which is a course where I teach you how to transform any room in your house into an epic content studio. Over 600 entrepreneurs and content creators already joined and are super happy with their new setup. Also, we offer a done for you service where my team and I will design and create the studio for you from start to finish. I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description in case you want to check them out. Now, there is one trick that can really be a game changer, and this is about choosing the light that you want based on your needs. In this case, this Forza 60 allows me to use batteries to power the light so that I don't have to plug it in whenever I'm moving around, I'm shooting outdoor, or I'm shooting in different areas of the house that don't have a plug. So this is the magical piece that allows me to transform my Forza 60 from a plugged in light into a wireless light. So I'm gonna just remove the plug right here, and then I need to place this one in between the light and the stand. And then I'm gonna put the light on top of this battery holder. And now, as you can see, there are absolutely no cables, but the light is on. And this is a game changer because it allows me to have it everywhere I want. No problem, no wire needed. And this is the result. We have the light that is powered, that is on, but there are no wires, and this could be really a game changer. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the link in the description in case you want to transform your room, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.